All right, let's talk about what you would do at the first sign of diabetes. Now, what would be the first sign of diabetes? Well, would it be prediabetes? Or would it be something that comes before prediabetes, which is pre-diabetes, insulin resistance? So really the name of this video should be, at the first sign of insulin resistance, you should do this. What are the first symptoms or clues that you're getting insulin resistance? Because a lot of times diabetes is discovered through a blood test, okay? But there's a lot of things that come before it, and if you can catch it at this stage, you could potentially avoid this and this. The first indicator that you have insulin resistance would be right here, frequent hunger. You can't go very long without needing a snack. That means you're relying on your blood sugars and you're not tapping into your fat fuel. The second one is carbohydrate cravings. Third is you're not satisfied after a meal. You need a little something sweet after a meal. Fourth is you have a difficult time holding your bladder through the night. You need to urinate at least once or twice a night. 5, you're a little bit more thirsty before you go to bed, which, guess what? That's going to make you urinate through the night as well. Number 6, you're tired after you eat. After lunch, you need a little nap. And 7, you have belly fat. These are all the signs that you have insulin resistance. Now, take a look at what's happening. Insulin resistance is a situation where the receptors for insulin are blocked, they're downgraded, they're not receiving insulin, the hormone insulin right here. So if it's not receiving insulin, you're not going to get the feedback to the pancreas, which means the pancreas is going to produce more and more insulin. Why? Because it's not connecting. So if you were going to talk to a friend or a family member and they were going to ignore you, you're going to increase the volume. That's what's happening. So with insulin resistance, we have 2 problems. 1, we have a problem at the receptor, and 2, we have a problem at the producer of insulin, which is the beta cell of the pancreas. It's dysfunctional. It's producing too much. If there's not enough insulin being produced, your blood sugars should go high, right? Well, that doesn't necessarily happen at this level right here because your pancreas is overcompensating and pumping out more insulin to keep your blood sugars in check. So when you get to prediabetes, you start to lose this compensation. And then what happens is the blood sugars start to go a little bit too high. And then when you lose more compensation, with time, you become a diabetic, which now you're losing the control of your blood sugars because now the beta cell is so tired, it can't produce enough insulin. And so we have a lack of insulin here and a lack of insulin here, and the blood sugars just go high. Now, many times, the first thing that happens with insulin resistance, you may have a low blood sugar situation because there's high amounts of insulin that's pushing it down, which eventually turn into a high blood sugar situation. Just realize, typically what happens with insulin resistance is you have a lot of insulin being pumped out of the pancreas. It's called hyperinsulinemia. Well, medically, what are they going to do? They're going to monitor you. They're going to wait and see what happens. And then they're going to wait until you become a diabetic, and then they're going to treat that or manage your blood sugars. And then you'll also get some advice that you should lose weight. You should exercise. Medications might be recommended, like metformin, which makes this receptor more receptive. And they also may tell you to start eating healthy. The big problem is their definition of healthy means on an 1,800 calorie per day eating plan would mean allowing 225 grams of carbohydrates. That is considered healthy, being a diabetic. But here's the thing, if you're taking medication, you'll just be managing these blood sugars and keeping them in check because they'll take the carb or the sugar from the blood and push it somewhere else. Now, the big problem is if you consume this many carbs when you're a diabetic or even a pre-diabetic, it's virtually going to be impossible to ever get rid of diabetes. You're going to be stuck in the management of diabetes mode. Now, what's bizarre to me is this. If diabetes is a disease of high blood sugar, you have high carbohydrates in your blood, then why in the world would you ever want to consume this many carbohydrates? Please comment below and give me an answer to that question. Because maybe I'm missing something, but isn't it obvious that if you have too many carbohydrates in your blood, you should probably not continue to put them into the blood? If you're new to my channel and you're a diabetic or a pre-diabetic or you have insulin resistance, this is what you need to do. And I put a link down below of the eating plan that you should be on. First thing, lower your carbs below 50 grams per day. Preferably down to 20 grams would be better. Number two, stop snacking, because every time you eat, you're going to make things worse. Start doing intermittent fasting to the point where you're only doing 2 meals per day. Very, very therapeutic for a diabetic and a pre-diabetic and someone who has insulin resistance. You're going to start to clear up these symptoms right here pretty fast, because you're going to switch your body to run on ketones, which is a byproduct of fat fuel, and you're no longer going to depend on running your body on sugar or stored sugar. Number four, there's something called butyrate, which is the byproduct of your microbes consuming fiber from vegetables. And this compound can greatly improve your blood sugars. It's good for insulin resistance. So you would want to consume a large salad or a good amount of vegetables per day. All right, number five, vitamin D has been shown to improve beta cell dysfunction. I'll put the link down below. Very important nutrient for a diabetic and someone who has problem with their beta cell. And number six, there's a lot of other things you can do nutrient-wise. Chromium picolinate is a really good trace mineral. Vitamin B1 from nutritional yeast is also very, very important, especially if you start getting advanced symptoms like peripheral neuropathy and problems in the eye. Potassium is necessary. You can get this from consuming a good amount of salad. And magnesium, you can also get that from a good amount of salad, as well as spring water, by the way. One bottle of spring water could potentially give you like 250 milligrams of magnesium, and it's extremely bioavailable. It'll go into your body like a rocket ship. Way better than even getting it from food. All right, there's a lot of plants and herbs that you can take, even spices that can help improve the situation. Cinnamon is at the top of the list. Just put a little cinnamon and sugar on your toast every morning, and I'm being very sarcastic. You want to take cinnamon in another way. Okay, green tea, very, very beneficial for this and that. Gymnema is an herb. It's been used for a very long time in early cultures, and the original name for this is sugar destroyer because it helps blood sugars. And berberine is one of the best herbs for insulin resistance. There's been some interesting studies that compare it to metformin, and it's comparable in its effectiveness. All right, there you go. That's what you need to do. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, before you go, if you're benefiting from any of my content, I would love to hear about your success story. Please share it in the link down below.